For me, that's a good question. I guess, you know, I came up in initially through black nationalist traditions. And so my first exposure to Palestine was Huey, you know, supporting the PLO, you know, critiquing Zionism. It was SNCC in '67 when they, in their newsletter, it was Malcolm on his op-ed on Zionism. So obviously I wasn't born yet, but that was the tradition out of which I come. So I was engaging that stuff first. You know, Malcolm was my entry point in all of this. So Malcolm X for me was the entry point, and because Malcolm had good politics on the issue, because Malcolm was concerned with Egypt, because Malcolm was concerned with Palestine, because Malcolm was concerned with these things, I became concerned with them. When Nelson Mandela came home and gave an interview, one of the first things people said is, "Why are you supporting Arafat?" And he said, the Palestinian people, and the PLO in particular, have been supportive of the liberation of of South Africans since day one. And it is not up to you as the United States to tell us who our friends or our enemies are. We are a sovereign nation. So it was them standing out that made me take notice. And as a TV pundit, you know, on the left, they just kind of threw me in there. It was like, hey, debate Alan Dershowitz. And so it was one of those things where I remember Dr. King once said, you know, if Bull Connor was for it, I knew I needed to be against it. On the question of Gaza, on the question of the West Bank, on the question of Palestine, I knew if Alan Dershowitz was for it. You know, I probably didn't need to agree with him. And I agree with Alan Dershowitz on some stuff, particularly the old Alan Dershowitz, but not this. And so as we began to debate, and I began to get to see the response I was getting, just on basic things like disproportionate force in Gaza, the response made me want to dig deeper, and it made me want to learn more. And then I traveled to Palestine. And I've been to Palestine many times, but the first time that I went, it was life-changing. You know, meeting Afro-Palestinians in the African Quarter behind Al-Aqsa Mosque, watching grown men have to take their pants off, grown women having to stand in line for hours, you know, pregnant mothers in line for hours going through checkpoints, watching the ritual humiliation of children being stopped and frisked all day. And then I went to Hebron, I went to Khalil. And you can't go to Khalil and not have your life changed, right? I mean, the devastation. And after I saw it, and I saw also the collective resistance, that steadfast, that sumud of Palestinian people, once I saw that, I could see nothing but connections and possibilities and excitement, and I wanted to be a part of it. And ever since then, I've been a committed ally to my brothers and sisters in Palestine who live under occupation, and those who were exiled, at the very same time that I remain committed fundamentally to the liberation of my own people.
I feel like I can't follow that, but here we go. I mean, I think it's the same question, right? This question of how is it that you connect your own experiences with what's going on in a place that may have, no concrete relevance to what it is that you're going through, right? And my angle at this question is very different in a sense because I'm, you know, a poor white person from the country who didn't, none of this affected, as far as I could tell, what I experienced, which was just poverty, right? But when you begin to dig and try to understand the structure of power, starting in the United States, then you come across the black struggle, right? And the history of resistance and the centrality of white supremacy in upholding that class structure in the United States. And then you see these lateral connections, not only between black struggle and Palestinian struggle, but the Irish Republican struggle, the Latin American guerrilla armies,
yes.
And their connections with, the IRA and the Palestinian struggle up, to the present. And you begin to realize that there's actually an underlying principle, I think, that helps to understand not only how the world is governed and the structures of oppression, but exactly this question of the dignity of rebellion, yes, and resistance and revolts. And when you bring both of those things together, I think once you look, it's hard to look away.